there, very warm welcome back to you to the Intel Extreme Masters San Jose. We're on day 1 of 4, of course, over the next 5 days. Yeah, there's some maths in there that don't work, but trust me, it does work. Today we're going to be looking at the Open Bracket 1 and 2. We're almost at the end of Open Bracket 1, so let's show you the scores so far today. We have this final game to decide who's going to go through in Open Bracket 1. We'll also move on to Open Bracket 2 this afternoon and this evening. And then tomorrow we'll start group play. We'll then have a day off on Friday for you to, gather your thoughts. And then we'll head up to San Jose on Saturday and Sunday live from the SAP Arena in downtown San Jose. This Open Bracket 1, though, has been very feisty at times and has ended up with 2 North American Protoss players having to fight it out for the final game. Now, you might be aware that usually we send 2 players through from the open brackets, but this time round we're sending through 3 from each of the open brackets. That's because, unfortunately, we lost Major and Scarlet from the main event. So 3 spots. Super and Gummio are both through. It's Super who's gone down, though, and Gummio who gets the top spot out of the open bracket 1. At the bottom, puCK and Huk now have to fight it out for the final place. It's at least nice, dare I say it, to get a foreigner out of the open bracket.
Yeah, also, I guess definitely some early Christmas for either of them, whichever one qualifies, because if we hadn't had extra slots here, neither of them would have made it. So I think it's cool. It's a good opportunity, and they are good players. They definitely deserve to get in there, and I'm glad we're going to see more from one of them in the group play. Yeah,
absolutely. What did you make of that last game in terms of puCK's strength in that game against a player who, recently has shown us that he's got some good form? It seems weird how Zanster spent 18 months in Fnatic, and I really, honestly, scratch my head and think, I can't remember anything he did particularly well in. And then he leaves, and almost a few days before his 18th birthday, goes over and finishes second to Zest in a big tournament. I know there's some arguments about who got in there and who didn't, but forget the fact that that's the case. He reached the final on merit, and yet he didn't really look like the same player against puCK in that last round.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe puCK had done his research. puCK has always been very good in PvZ, he's the guy who's beat Hyun many times and many other good Zergs. Zanster always been a little bit of an enigma to me, because he practices very secretly, much like his Swedish friend Mini Razor. These guys, nobody knows their barcode on the Europe ladder, which is almost...
Not even Todd.
Yeah.
Who, trust me, is like the barcode detective right here.
Yes. So I've always thought that's pretty cool that they can keep it such a secret. And I'm sure that both of them also practice quite a bit, so that's nice for them. And yeah, he shows up at the tournament, sometimes plays really well, sometimes not as well. I remember this one DreamHack, actually, in which he came first of a group where there was quite a few good Koreans. I think there was maybe first in there.
I think he beat first.
It was the one tournament where I beat Jaedong.
It was, yeah.
And I remember thinking, wow, I'm probably the only foreigner that beat 2 Koreans in the group. Then looking Zanster was first in that group. I was like, wow, he's actually really good. So yeah, he's definitely one of those good players, but I guess puCK was just too much in PvZ for him.
Okay, let's look forward to the next game, which is puCK versus Huk. You're probably glad you're not commentating on this one. It's a bit of a nightmare to fall over these 2 names, isn't it, in the same game? But the joking aside, probably the right 2 players from the bracket you think that would be fighting out for this 3rd spot?
Yeah, like I said before, both of them, they are top players in North America, and surely they maybe even both deserve to be in the group play, but sadly only one of them can make it. So yeah, if you look at the overall bracket, I guess it makes sense to see them at the very end of the bracket just battling for that last spot.
Mentally speaking, Huk's got his demons when it comes to PvT, but when it comes to PvP, and particularly against puCK, he's actually got the upper hand, and I think mentally he knows that as well. So is that going to play into this match?
It's going to give Huk some confidence. I don't know about puCK, if he's going to let it maybe scare him a little bit of his opponents. I don't think so. I hope not for him. And yeah, Huk anyway, I think he's confident in PvP no matter against who. So now probably even more against somebody that he's had good results against in the past.
Okay, Matt Vito's incoming. What are we expecting here? Pretty standards?
Yeah,
nothing crazy.
The thing about PvP is that, since...
Do you know what? Now we've said that, it will be Nimbus, Foxtrot and Deadwing.
Okay. You know what? No,
that's the
probably not Nimbus.
I'll eat my hat.
I was going to say, in PvP you end up vetoing the maps that you veto on ladder, and you don't veto the maps on ladder thinking about PvP. You veto them thinking about PvT and PvZ mostly. So usually Foxtrot and Nimbus are going to be pretty much guaranteed. Not always. I see puCK just look at me, maybe he's going to troll me and pick it.
Foxtrot's gone.
Yeah, Nimbus. Usually you veto that on ladder.
Yeah.
Almost every single time, so that's you don't have to free lose against Terran all day. So
Nimbus, there we go.
There we go.
We're
Then,
two for two. See, if these were picks right now, I'd be 100%.
what did you say again?
Well, I said Foxtrot, Nimbus, and Deadwing would be a weird three-mapper, but we might get Deadwing. I mean, it's been played.
Yeah, I mean,
There you go.
actually interesting.
Yeah.
Overgrowth and King Sejong. Usually these are the
Yeah.
two maps that against Zerg and Terran you want to play, but now
Yeah.
in PvP they veto them. Yeah, that means we're gonna have two maps where you have 3 spawning points,
Yes.
which can be tricky to scout on, and scout even maybe for proxies and stuff like that. It was like one of those, I guess, like UFC.
Well,
Where one guy puts like the hand like this and the guy just walks away.
I mean, I don't want to turn into, this doesn't want to be like Handshake Gate 53 or whatever it is we're on now, because we've had this in the past where players didn't shake. I think that was genuinely a mistake.
And Naniwa handshake.
And Nanny will shake.
The double
Nanny
deny.
shake. Yeah, the whole deny. I think actually, yeah. So, yeah, Huk basically made up for that by actually having the handshake, but doing it on his own. I think that's good sportsmanship.
That was
Hopefully,
nice.
hopefully puCK just forgot there. There's no handshake gate now.
I hope somebody gives that.
Yeah. So where's this going now? Huk has to be the favourite in this game. Does that put more pressure on him? Does he feel that pressure? Does he not feel the pressure now that he's got a Terran out of the way and he doesn't have to worry about that?
Well, surely he's happy that he doesn't have to play a Terran. Was probably very unhappy about having to
Yeah,
play
he's,
one in
not,
the
he's
first
nodding
round.
as he goes past. He's definitely happy he's not playing a Terran, that's for sure.
Giving us the same smile as when the interview finished when he had Smix next to me. Yeah, I mean, surely PvP, Huk's going to be confident. I don't think puCK is going to put too much pressure on himself. He's probably just going to be like, hey, you know what? I'm a good player. I'm just going to wing it, see where it takes me, just try some builds here and there. Even Huk was joking earlier before setting up on the stage. He was telling me it's time to roll the dice, and he did the gesture. So these guys, they're always ready to roll the dice.
Are you looking at this as a PvP? It does have those, I want to say this nicely, but they can be a bit lucky sometimes. I mean, they're just it's not that they seem random, but there just seems to be so many different types of builds with PvP that you can actually, you could almost flip a coin sometimes with how it's going to pan out. Is that going to play a part in this game?
Maybe it is, but if you're one of those players, you can't be thinking about this, because that's completely the wrong way to look at it, and it's going to make you play bad if you are. Unless you're like, well, since it's only luck, I'm going to try these crazy one builds. It's either going to work or fail horribly, but I don't think that's how they would like to play usually. And to me, this is also like a match between players that you could kind of call rivals, because they are the two best North American Protosses, maybe top 3 with Minigun as well. So that always makes it so interesting for me. I'm a Protoss at heart, it's no secret.
Really?
So,
You play Protoss?
yes. So that makes it very cool for me.
I'd never realised that before about Todd. Learn something new every day.
Maybe you should pay attention to my Twitter.
Wow.
You will learn about that very quickly.
Really? You talk about Protoss on your Twitter as well?
So I tweet about Terran, but what I'm really talking about is Protoss.
Right. Do you tweet about Terran in the same way as maybe, say, like Huk does?
Yeah, like I said to Roddy before, we always end up getting tagged in the same tweets, so...
I just want us to go back and visit the Intel Extreme Masters from 12 months ago and see what the conversation was then, because I'm pretty sure it was the other way around.
Yeah, well, things change, Actually, that some change was just announced for Widowmines.
Yes.
I'm quite glad.
Out of all the people I expected to
And
say
you know
you
the
were glad,
first-
I was expecting it to be you.
The first person I asked about it was Huk, and he was thinking the same as me. He told me it's not enough. We're getting carried away anyway.
It's never enough. But it is enough, because we're coming to the end of Open Bracket 1 right now, and it's time to focus on a PvP. It's difficult to say, but I'm just going to get away with it for the final time. It's Huk versus puCK.
Thank you very much, Red Eye, but I think you practiced that one and thought about that for about 30 seconds before you said that then, and hopefully we don't mess up too much. I'm going to try and count how many times that we mess it up.
Don't do that, Sean.
I'm going to count it up, and I'm going to actually get a piece of pen and paper and tally them up on this right-hand side here.
Sean, the only commentator who tries to make himself look bad. It's hard, though.
I mean, look at me, I'm wearing purple.
But you're pretty flawless in general.
Do you like my shirt?
I think it's beautiful.
I like your shirt.
I like the button.
You've got this
Nobody
very...
likes my shirt. You're the only one who likes my shirt.
Do you want to join Team Salmon?
I'd sign up for it.
Moonglade and Wolf and Brendan, they're part of Team Salmon.
Well, this is a different type of salmon.
What kind of...
Salmon doesn't have to be one color. I think it's a little different than the Team Salmon boys in Korea.
Yeah, I guess it's
I'll
a
be
little
part of
different.
a team with
It's hard to
Moonglade.
tell.
Moonglade is a very handsome man, so I'd like to be named in the
Come
same.
on, you've got one man on your mind. It's always Nathanius. Come on, get out of here. I know you. I know it used to be Mr. Bitterbird.
It's
Not
still
anymore.
it's like a little bit of both.
It's a little bit of both.
Yeah. Well, what's a man to do when he's loving too, right?
That's right, man. You do. You know, Roddy. What can you do? All right, so let's get ready for this. A very important game now between puCK and Huk, as these two players, the two arguably best American Protoss players, go head-to-head to decide which one of them will play at the Intel Extreme Masters in San Jose just this coming weekend. What are your thoughts? I mean, we heard Todd's and Red Eyes. You give me your thoughts of this matchup.
I think Huk is a small favorite going into this one, but these are matches that truly excite me as just a fan of StarCraft and a fan of North American StarCraft in general. You follow the storylines, just like I was really excited for Snoot vs Scarlet. Unfortunately, that is not going to happen because then you have like the best European Zerg against the best North American Zerg. Of course, you can make an argument for Vortex as well, but you know, achievement-wise. But these two, they have been the two most consistent Protoss players over the last year and a half or something in the North American scene. So this is more than just that ticket to IM San Jose. Winning this best of 3 is not just winning another best of 3 of qualifying for a big event, which is awesome. It is also that title of like, all right, you know, you and I, we both know that we are the two best Protoss players in North America, and now we are going to settle this once and for all.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you very much, Rotterdam. And with that, let's jump into game number 1. Is up here to the top right-hand side, playing for IVD Gaming. It's puCK, who challenges Huk here, who over the last good couple of years has been the #1 in America. And now on stage right in front of you will be challenged. Just down here to the left-hand side is the red Protoss player, of course, playing for Team Evil Geniuses. It is Huk. On the left-hand side here, a very important match here for both sides, as Rotterdam has very wisely said. But both players have started off with losses earlier on today, with one player in common, of course, Gumiho. But now, PvP to set it all. Talk to me about PvP on this map, Catalina.
Catalina is a funny one because it's a pretty okay blink stalker map. There's a lot of surface area on the edges of the main base that you can blink into, but it's also a map where Stargate play is very popular. It's pretty hard to lose oracles over here. Like, you're gonna have to try pretty hard. You're gonna have to go YOLO all in if you truly want to lose it, but most of the time your oracles are gonna stick around for quite a while. They're going to be a nuisance, not just because of the damage they will do, but of the potential damage they always represent. So I wouldn't be too shocked to see puCK open up with a Stargate. I think he's been a little bit more of a Stargate player traditionally than Huk has been. I would be kind of shocked if Huk doesn't open up with his blink stalkers over here. You know, one of the funniest moments I've ever seen on stream, or maybe not one of the funniest moments ever.
Well, the #1 is definitely the carrier from yesterday.
yeah, that's on top of Reddit, man. Like, you know when you front page Reddit, and then you've done
You've
it right.
made it, Roddy.
Yeah. No, but it was so cool because I saw Huk play PvP once on this stream, and I do really enjoy Huk's stream, and it's an awesome stream. But he was playing blink stalkers against another Protoss who was on a barcode blink stalkers, and Huk was like, "Oh, you want to go blink stalkers against blink stalker? You think you can out micro me?" And then they fought, and the guy completely out microed him. I just died. Like, it was the funniest thing I've seen. It was a game on Heavy Rain, but in general, that does not happen very often because Huk is excellent when it comes to blink stalkers. He's opening up double gate. That's a little safe. That's showing some respect. puCK is still on one gateway sentry as well. I may have been on something when it came to that Stargate prediction. We are going to figure that out soon. I still think that Huk is going to drop a Twilight after his second gate, but going 2-gate Stargate, or excuse me, 2-gate into Twilight instead of 1-gate Twilight basically just shows a little bit of extra respect. Like, hey, I'm afraid you might gateway pressure me.
Well, two big differences here is that puCK had decided to probe scout here, Huk completely in the dark when it comes to his opponent's position. And we'll see puCK, Sentry, then Stalker. Holding up here, sinks a lot of his minerals that if he was aiming towards that expansion is now gone.
Yeah, it is interesting that he's getting a Stalker after his Sentry. Most of the time, if you want to play Stargate, you don't do that. He's exactly. That's why he's sending out the probe now. And it's going to be a Twilight for puCK after all. So it's just a little bit of a quicker Twilight for puCK than when you would do it off 2 gateways. But he does get very quick access to the Sentry, so that means that first he's safe with a force field, and later on he could use that Sentry for a hallucination scout. And you know, information is everything. You know, a wise man once upon a time said, like, knowing or information is, what was it? Knowing is half the information, right, Sean?
Half the battle.
Half the information.
I don't know what you're on about, Roddy.
But, you know, having a hallucination going into your opponent's main in PvP is very, very useful.
So, in this position, we see Huk obviously posturing up. He's got a couple more units out early because of the second gateways on the other side of the map. We see puCK here, very defensive, obviously inside his main base. Does this not favor puCK? I mean, he's gone up to 3 gateways. He's got the Sentry, which obviously a Guardian Shield is huge in in this kind of Protoss versus Protoss Blink Stalker battle.
Oh wow, he's actually going dropping a Dark Shrine. He went pretty all out killing that probe, and killing a probe is nice, don't get me wrong, but I wouldn't really want to kill a probe for a Stalker. That is a very defensive force field, by the way, for puCK. In general, you kind of want to let one Stalker squeeze up, unless you truly want to keep something secret. Then again, he has a Dark Shrine on the production tab, so you could say, you know, maybe that was the correct play for puCK. Huk is unaware of this probe on the bottom side of the map. This is tricky. I kind of indeed like, Sean. I think you're onto something. I think this is going okay for puCK. Losing that that Stalker, it's a little bit tricky. Even though if I was Huk right now, I'd be like, hey man, like why are you getting all these sentries? If you're going Blink Stalkers just like I am, then
what are you hiding back there,
yeah,
buddy?
what are you doing with these sentries? Why don't you just make Stalkers and use your defender's advantage?
Yeah, and well, Huk's going to push up here anyway. He's got the brute force. There's no more force fields left. And Huk's going to move in, picks off one probe, Photon Overcharge will push this back here, but still, there is no robotics facility from puCK. He has no detection. Sure, he has sentries, which could be used here. An interesting force field there, and it's going to trap a couple of these units, but at the same time, it kind of, you know, traps his own units because Huk just pushes up forwards.
Wow, I was like so confused. I actually thought puCK was the one going up to DTs, but it's Huk the one going into DTs. And now puCK is the one who's in crazy amounts of trouble because he actually doesn't have any form of detection at all. He doesn't have a Forge or a Robo. Sorry guys, like blue, red, PvP, Huk, puCK. Sometimes you confuse something. So puCK is the one going Blink. Huk is the one going DTs. This is game ending. This is literally GG.
Wow, you called it. Nailed it. And the game is over just like that. I got you, Roddy. It is a little bit confusing sometimes like that. But either way, DT versus Blink, we all have seen this scenario many a time before. And this was another one of those stingers.
So I want to give some props for the way that Huk sold this strategy, because going Dark Templars is one thing. You can try to rush up to Dark Shrine as quick as possible, and then you just go for it. He sold a very convincing story. Normally, when someone is knocking on your front door with this amount of Stalkers, if I see 5-6 Stalkers in this phase in the game, Sean, there is not one hair on my head that thinks that my opponent has a Dark Shrine behind this. Maybe a late Dark Shrine as soon as Blink is ready, but right now I am worried about not dying to Blink Stalkers. I'm worried about the next wave of Stalkers coming in and him starting to Blink Stalker Micro, and I don't have enough units. So Huk sold a very convincing story, and he even tricked me, despite the fact I have 2 production tabs and Fog of War turned off.
One step closer now as Huk just a single game away. And of course, not only do you play at the main event, which is of course very prestigious, you gain yourself $350, and also more importantly, 125 WCS points. Of course, this is a tournament within the WCS system, and we all see each year, at the start of each year, at the start of each season, no one takes the WCS points seriously until later on in the year. And I think this one may be a little bit different. 125 points, as you can tell, means a lot.
Yeah, Huk actually, he was in the running to make it to BlizzCon for quite a while last year, and a lot of people said like, Huk is never going to make top 4 at WCS America Season 3, and then suddenly he's in the quarterfinals, and it's like, man, if he actually wins 2 series now, he is qualified for BlizzCon. Like that is crazy to think of. So totally agree with you, getting those WCS points early on is extremely important. I'm still just wrapping my head around what I just saw on Catalina, because if you go for 1 gate Twilight and you add 2 extra gates, you open up with a sentry, that's fine. Normally you should have 2 force fields, so I really don't understand why he got sentry number 2.
Is it because he lost that Stalker and felt so pressured that he had to have it, not to die?
Yeah, I guess that's it, but yeah, normally you have 2 force fields, and I guess he just wanted to know. It's crazy. It's really weird how that game played out. Pretty crazy game number 1 between these 2 excellent North American Protoss players.
And here we go into game number 2 now. Just one more game for the Evil Genius player to close it out. And up here to the top left is that player, the red Protoss. It is, of course, Huk on hunt for those WCS points, and a big from him.
Small sigh of relief there. Of course, over here on the blue, on the 6 o'clock position of merry-go-round, we have the Protoss player representing IVD Gaming, and of course the Kappa Star League, and as well it is puCK. As puCK got that personal sponsorship from Nate. Man, that is something to be proud of. I would love to rock Nate's money. I could do great things with Nate's money.
Don't get me started on what we could do with Nate's money, Roddy. You've got to one day take this guy's credit card and let's just go have a great time in Los Angeles, man.
This like Nate has one of these platinum black cards, you know. There is no withdrawal limit. They will never say no. You can go in debt thousands of esports dollars on Nate's card, and you can still swipe it everywhere with a success.
Oh man, the only thing that Nathan spends his money on is a coffee every morning, man. What we would do with his money.
And like a couple of monitors, and like Nate is very addicted to tech stuff. I've never seen someone order as many boxes from Amazon as Nate does. Like every single day, someone knocks on my door. I was like, I wonder who it is, and it's like, we got a package for you. I was like, cool.
Mr. Fabricant?
Nathan Fabricant. Every day. I don't even know what he orders anymore, Sean.
All right, well, looking at the head-to-head of these two players as well, is Huk has a convincing 6 series to 3 of puCK over the last 2 years. Nice head-to-head to have here coming into this, but looking at the two builds going to shape up with puCK, God! puCK going to move out here with the first early scouting probe like he did in the previous game.
Yep, I'm actually going to pay very close attention.
You don't mess up this. We are good to go, Roddy.
Yeah, alrighty. I'm going to keep my eyes wide open. But yeah, so far everything is relatively standard. The Cybercore for Huk was a little bit quicker than the one of puCK. Once again, he's adding that second gateway. Now, there are still so many ways you can go with this, guys. 2 gates doesn't mean that, okay, that means for sure he's going to go follow this up with a Twilight to go into Blink. It's very possible. Merry-Go-Round also a very... I mean, not the best Blink Stalker map, but you can work with it. You can Blink 4 Stalkers into the main, go for the good old 4 Stalker hit squad while expanding behind it. This is one of these maps where... in general, you can actually expand as a Protoss player, drop Photon Overcharge, and it makes it very hard for the other Protoss to run up that ramp, because you're so close to the Nexus immediately, you will always be in range of that powerful Nexus cannon. So, in general, this is a map where PvPs last a little longer than it does on some other maps.
Well, the idea that you're trying to sell here could very well come true with both players going for a Sentry here. It doesn't necessarily mean the case, as we can just look at the previous game where it was Sentry Stalker and turned into a Twilight Council. So, not necessarily the case, but with Huk going for 2 sentries off the bat here, it pretty much seems that it is going to be an expansion opener for him, saving up those minerals that you can throw down that Nexus. But on the other side of things, if we are going to see a Nexus here from Huk, what do we see from puCK?
Okay, well, this is a very promising building for puCK. I said in game number 1, puCK is a player that definitely enjoys his Stargate play once in a blue moon in this matchup. And there are so many ways you can go with a Stargate. I kind of expect him to open up with an Oracle, but if puCK knew what we knew, I think he would open up with a Phoenix, because if there is one thing that kind of counters 1 gate fast expand in this matchup, in my opinion, it's 1 gate Phoenix. Because you can force out the Photon Overcharge very early on just by clicking on the Mothership Core, and then the moment it lasts off, that's when you go in with a bunch of Phoenixes and Gateway units. And even if he has an Immortal, you just lift it up, and you have more Gateway units because your opponent has been investing in stuff like a Nexus and a few S-Craft ropes here and there.
Unfortunately, if Huk was a little bit greedier than he is, he could have poked in a bit further with that Mothership Core to see the Stargate, but he didn't know where it was. He could have risked losing it. He's backed off. He saw 2 additional gateways being added on, but doesn't know what that middle piece of the puzzle is. What part has been added on? He's sending out Hallucinated Phoenix to try to find that. He sees a probe just outside his main base, so of course he's going to be a little bit worried about a sort of attack. He's back home defending now. The Oracle's on its way. The Hallucinated Phoenix is going to see it.
Excellent scout here for Huk. He's indeed going to see that Stargate, and I think he could have seen that it was an Oracle in production as well. He drops the Twilight console immediately, which is interesting because he already has a robotics facility. And there are offensive pylons on the map. Maybe we jinxed it. We said that games last a little bit longer in general on this map. But if this Oracle is able to force out a very early Photon Overcharge, Huk knows this as well. He's an experienced Protoss player. He does not want to use Photon Overcharge unless he absolutely has to, and that's why he's positioning all of his gateway units in his mineral line. This is smart play by Huk. I'm really digging this.
Saracen Oracle on the way for puCK. Huk's going to send out another Hallucinated Phoenix. Maybe he can see if there's an expansion down,
sentry.
But we can see there's a lot of units.
There is a sentry, Sean. Look at this sentry of puCK. This sentry can just drop a force field on the ramp. And here we go. This is a very, very beautiful moment for Protoss players around the world. Doesn't matter what matchup you play. When you lock your opponent inside of his main base, you're going to have a good time.
Gonna try to push this back here. The force field is going to deplete so he can move down.
Okay, so he doesn't... okay, now at least those units... This is very tricky. Okay, Blink just started. Man, this is such a nail-biting situation. If I was Huk, I would not be 100% sure how I want to deal with this. Here come 2 Oracles. He's just right-clicking on workers. He's getting quite a few immediately.
Yeah, and backs off with both Oracles still intact here. And puCK is putting the pressure on 5 down. He's going to go up to the front door once again. Photon Overcharge will go down in a second. He does have another one available in a couple of moments' time. But does Huk simply have enough numbers?
If I was Huk, I would, as soon as I have that second Photon Overcharge, only leave my Mothership Core in the main and get all of my units into the natural. I don't think that Huk doesn't have enough right now.
Maybe if he gets towards Blink, but it's so far away and there's so few Stalkers that he actually has. And this attack is going to commence here. There goes the Guardian Shield.
Look
and
at
the
these Oracles
just tugging down the sentries like they are nothing here. And this is an absolutely one-sided battle from puCK. And this series is going to tie up. He's going to be able to bring down everything.
Yep, Huk is trying to save some extra time for his Blink to finish up so he could save some of his Stalkers, but it's not going to happen. Zealots are standing on top of these Stalkers. Excellent attack here by puCK, very well handled. And Huk, you could say, got a little bit unfortunate with the build orders, but also a little bit overeager, just getting a few too many things at once. This is a cool build by puCK. Now, instead of going for Phoenixes, going for a double Oracle, it's the same idea. You know, you force your opponent to have units in both locations while you all in him in one of them. And well, here we go. The probes are being pulled. The boys, or at least the smaller version of the boys before they grow up, Sean.
The kids, super kids. The kids have been pulled, and it is a victory here for puCK as he ties this series up. And we are going to go to the final decider between the both of them in a game that matters more than just a game here for both of these players. A single map that means so much. It has so much weight to it.
Okay, so you know, I understand Huk dropping the Twilight, but I just don't think you can get away with it anymore. In that phase, you know, you're gonna have to make up your mind. You dropped an expand, that's 400 minerals. Then you drop a robotics facility, that's you know, another 200. It's some gas as well. That is a lot of investment. And then you research Blink. There are so many resources that are not part of your army. How are you supposed to defend two locations at once against a guy that didn't spend those locations or didn't spend those resources and is all-inning you on one of those two locations? It's just, you can't get away with it. Making Immortals, I actually don't think is the worst thing in the world. I think the best play would have indeed been, what would it have been? Maybe even just sacrifice the expand at a certain point, and it's always tricky. Like, if you go for a Twilight as well, then you may as well sacrifice the Nexus.
Well, let's play the Protoss versus Protoss game. What if it wasn't a Stargate opener that we saw from puCK?
Then
if
it's
it was a Twilight Council, then
I like the build from Huk a lot. Then you just, you know, you pump out Immortals, you split up your army a little bit maybe, but that is excellent. Like, you can defend most of the builds with your 1 gate fast expand if you open up with the sentries followed up with the Robo. There's nothing wrong with that build. It's just, like I said before the Stargate even went down, it's weak against Stargate.
Yeah, and he walked right into it. But now game 3, who's going to walk into what here, Rotti? As the last game's upon us. Up here to the top left-hand side, playing for Team Evil Geniuses as the Red Protoss, it's of course Huk, who won the first game quite convincingly, but also dropped the second one quite convincingly.
Just as convincingly.
Just as convincing.
Over here in the right bottom side of the map, the man who's representing the Kappa Star League and IVD Gaming, it is puCK. Good old puCK. He's staying at my place, Casa di Rodi.
Yeah.
A hot spot for pro gamers.
Yeah, how many you got over there right now?
We got Zenster, Caliber, Cats, puCK. And in previous times I've housed Funka, Todd, Bomber. Out of all those guys, it went very well for Bomber. After Bomber stayed at my place, Sean, he won like everything he attended for 3 months. That's why I keep inviting Todd over, because I really like Todd, so I hope whenever he stays at my place, you know, that he goes on one of these streaks as well. But it just doesn't seem to work for Todd.
puCK has stayed one night at your place. If he advances from this open bracket, you have something in that place that allows these gamers to show their true potential, Rotterdam. Why can't you invite me over?
Next thing you know, I'm gonna get like these old pro gamers that are like kind of looking for their skills. Like MVP sends me a message on Facebook. He's like, "Hey man, I heard you got something going on over there. I heard you got the good stuff." It's right, MVP.
Fruit dealer comes back from retirement to stay at Roddy's place to join WCS again.
Man, we're gonna turn this into Big Brother, the Starcraft 2 edition. It's going to be a hit, Sean.
If there was another, there isn't another house out there that could actually want to be Big Brother or even pull it off. Your house, I could 100% see being the Starcraft Big Brother house out of all houses that have ever existed. You know that Evil Geniuses house in Phoenix? No, not even close to Rotterdam's house. Actually, I take that back. Rotterdam and the Muslim, that's the Big Brother house.
The glory days in the good old
in Cologne.
Good old Cologne.
That's the Big Brother house. We two together, all
we
right.
Had fun. Everything was falling apart, but hey, me and
the
Muslim.
world was falling apart. The Muslim was in hospital every other weekend, but it was a great life.
Those stories, Sean. We'll never forget them.
Remain secret forever.
Alright, so this is a really big PvP. It comes down to a best of 1. The winner of this game on Deadwing will advance to the main tournament into Extreme Masters San Jose. Of course, secure yourself some guaranteed prize money, them WCS points, because these players did qualify. There's a little bit of confusion for the people who got invited. Now, everyone who's part of the main event gets WCS points, unless you're one of the 4 special invites. Then you have to advance to the next round to actually get yourself some WCS points. But of course, these players, they come via the dual tournament, the open bracket. So if they make it to the main event, they get them WCS points.
The ruling is you can't play in a WCS tournament and gain points without winning a game. And of course, qualification players who come through online qualification, these players to win games, invited players not. Both players similar openings so far. Differences is that puCK did scout earlier, and Huk immediately comes down here to the south side, plants a pylon no matter what, and then checks inside the main base. There, and it's going to back off.
So like in the old days, you know, I'm talking about a little over a year ago, on the big maps you had so many top Korean Protoss players, even Deer did this quite often. On the big maps they just always opened Dark Shrine. It was just like such a tricky thing to do. They hide it in the corner of the map because it's hard to scout, and with Dark Shrine you can get some funny wins. Huk is doing something very cool over here though. That pylon, I wasn't sure what to think about it. It's going to be a proxy Stargate pylon. This doesn't give me a Huk feeling at all in PvP. Like, if I would see the name tags right now, I would not say that this is Huk playing. But we'll see where he takes this.
Well, you could get a lot of damage done against this Twilight Council build depending on where the units are. What are we going to see from puCK? Is it going to be Blink? Yes, it is. It's been researched.
Kind of like this. He's chrono boosting warp kick technology quite a bit actually. And he only has 16 probes on this mineral line. puCK is not producing any workers now, so I want to keep my eye on this little probe, on this little blue dot on the left side of the map, because I believe this guy, Sean, he has evil intentions.
He does. He wants to win this game very fast, but also there's a massive counter that's in play here. It's the Oracle from the south side, which obviously puCK has no idea about. Neither of them know exactly what they're playing against. At this stage of the game, they do not know.
And this mothership core from puCK is going out of position a little bit. Yep, he's going to bring it. There is this mothership core, there we go, that is making its way across the map. And that is very bad. The worst thing in the world when you're trying to all-in your opponent, or at least put on crazy amount of aggression, is having something in your main. Like, no, that you don't want to deal with that.
And at the same point here, this is a beautiful setup for Huk, because all he's got to do is run, retreat to his main nexus, sit underneath the photon overcharge with his units, and here comes the Oracle, and there's simply no units. A couple of units got warped in a few seconds ago on the other side of the map. One gets warped in, 2 Stalkers come back to defend.
Yep, it's not even all the damage. Like, yeah, getting 3-4 workers and a lot of mining time, that's already fantastic, but it's about seeing exactly what your opponent is doing and forcing him to retreat, and the Oracle lives for now as well. That is a great, great opening for Huk.
The 10 supply advantage, Immortals in production as he sits nice and tight, tucked away around this nexus with double photon overcharge available while he builds up his immortal count. This couldn't have gone better for him.
No, not at all. puCK is still chrono boosting out Blink. If I was puCK right now, like, you always want to stick to your plan, you know, like, oh, shoot, I kind of still want to see if I can do something with my Blink Stalkers, but the moment you lose so much time, PvP is already a matchup that often comes down to seconds. The moment that you spend 30, 40, 50 seconds running back to your main, whopping in units defensively, running around workers, you know that attack, whatever it was that you had in mind, is just not going to work anymore. So if I was puCK, I would try to just chrono boost out probes, and yeah, I am behind, but I'm going to try to make the best of it. I still have Blink Stalkers. He does kill the Oracle, but I just don't see him do a whole lot with these Blink Stalkers, not at all even.
There's Immortals out now. There's nothing he can do at this point. Huk is getting ready to expand at this point, and you're in a very difficult position here. But what do you do? Where do you go? Do you try to build more units? Do you want to expand?
Okay, the best play for puCK is to warp in 2 sentries from that pylon that he just got. It's a very risky move, because if Huk actually walks down the ramp, then you know, then you're in even more trouble, because you just spent 200 gas on something that's not going to be super useful in the near future. But that's by far and away the best play for puCK, and there we go. He's warping in 2 units. I do play this game sometimes.
You just sometimes, Ronnie, just sometimes. You call the 2 sentries.
Yes.
The Oracle, another one's been built here from Huk. It's going into the mineral line, and there is a sentry and a mothership core here. Another probe goes down. He's going to see the expansion come in, and very shortly we are going to see Huk try to push down.
The thing is though, yeah, Huk has so many units that these force fields are going to have to be more than perfect, because if like 2 Zealots and 2 Immortals walk down the ramp, that's enough to actually break that army from puCK. Huk is going to, Huk probably has an idea that he's sort of being contained. That can feel nice. If I was puCK, I would warp in now a Zealot. He's actually getting another sentry, that's fine. More force fields can make it even harder for units to squeeze through. Huk has a cheeky pylon over there as well. He might be very annoying with that. He's getting a Warp Prism. That's an interesting decision. I'm not sure what is the best play when you're being contained. Getting a Robobay to break the force field is one thing, but then you also say like, all right, I am locked in for the next minute or so, even a little more than that. Curious to see where he's going to go with the Warp Prism. It's risky. Oh, this 6 Zealots, and there is no photon overcharge anymore, because he already used it twice.
And there's an Oracle coming over to help as well with these Zealots.
Well, Huk is going to be like, all right, I'm fine here, my man.
There's a second Oracle. There's one here, and there's another one right behind it. He's going straight for these units.
Actually, puCK is handling this pretty well. Very well, even. What a perfect force field that was. He has to move that Stalker a tiny bit. He's losing a lot of workers, of course.
The dream right now is Huk picking up Immortals and dropping them onto this army at the same time, and he's doing that on the other side of the map here. And he's going to break this. The sentries are very low.
Well
One of them
done.
goes down, and this has been broken. This has been compromised. Huk is going to
So
push
well
out
done.
about this. There's no way he can continue to hold. Very well done there by Huk. Great play with the Zealots and the Oracles, and then at the same time, the Dream as he broke out from his main base. And now the race is on as Huk has got more than enough units to go over to the other side of the map, and puCK is in trouble.
I would also expand, and I think that's exactly what Huk is going to do. Just expand as well. I like this move by puCK though, because if he just sits at home, he is going to be in so much trouble. So he's going to kill Mothership Core with 200 energy. Nope, does get one photon overcharge. But still though, having these Stalkers here, if you can on-power pylons, well, Huk has a lot of free pylons by the way, or free supply. It's 63 against 82, but this is annoying already. There's a chance that Huk is going to lose his expand as well, and he's going to send quite a few units back. What happened with the Immortals?
He's decided not to push. He's bringing back his main army, but the Immortals are in the Warp Prism on the right side. A little bit risky, but we know that the main Stalkers are on the other side of the map.
Well, I love how puCK just immediately activates Photon Overcharge in his main base, even though there's like nothing there.
There's an Oracle just killed 2 sentries on
these
the
guys,
natural.
and these guys, man. Oh, well, Huk Zealot is a little stronger than puCK Zealot. They had something...
Well, puCK is leading this game, so damn right that Zealot's stronger. An Immortal here trying to take on these Stalkers is a little bit in danger.
Oh, what a good
by
blink!
himself.
The blinks around, I like that a lot. Ends up only losing 1 Stalker, but a Stalker for an Immortals, of course, a trade that anybody is loving.
And Huk is just trying to stabilize now. He wants to play this game longer. He's trying to build a forge. He's trying to use the Immortals effectively, but with that Photon Overcharge on the main, he hasn't really been able to yet. But here we go, and he's going to try and get some damage done.
Oh, the blink though. Does he have enough DPS to kill the Warp Prism? Yes, he does. Now he has to worry about these Immortals though, but... Oh,
and
here
an
comes the
Oracle,
Oracle as
another
well.
Oracle! How many Oracles has he built in this
God.
game? It's about 6.
Man, these Immortals...
Maybe 5.
This has been a wild PvP, so much on the
6.
line. I really like the way that this game is shaping up, because puCK just made a couple of good moves, but these 2 Immortals, they did some serious work, especially that extra Oracle. Oracles are so good against light armored units.
It's like the units get warped in, they're like, yeah, we'll get him! We'll get him! And the Immortal's like, yeah, alright. Come on then.
Oh, look at that Stalker.
So much damage from these Immortals here, and he's targeting down that Nexus. If that dies, the game is almost over. It's a must-defend area as puCK jumps forward. These Stalkers are the Stalkers to kill Immortals, and they're going to bring down their 3rd one in this game.
But puCK just doesn't have any units anymore. Now Huk is also marching across the map with his remaining forces. He has 1 Immortal in the mix, so you could say there's a lot of micro potential. The Mothership Core is going to die.
Another Oracle!
Oracle number 5 with 6 kills in the main. Huk has played this game very well.
Yeah,
Sean.
a great game from Huk as he has double his opponent's supply, and he's looking like he's going to take this 2 games to 1 and be the player to move on with Gumiho and Super as the 3rd player to qualify for the Intel Stream Masters San Jose. An excellent game from Huk. He kills the Nexus, goal achieved. He doesn't need to do anything more in this game. He can go back to his Nexus, build up the probes, get that upgrade, and play the rest of this game out. And puCK is put in a position where you are in trouble.
That probe deserved to die as well for all the things he has done to puCK throughout this game. Those pylons that allowed the Zealot Warpins, the Proxy Stargate.
The Proxy Stargate. What an insult to injury that has been throughout all this. It's caused the injuries.
Yep, it's been a really cool game though, because one moment it really looked like puCK was almost making the best out of a very bad situation. I was like, the worker count right now is 28 against 26. He has his expand up and running already. If this game goes on for a bit, but that's when Huk flew in with the Warp Prism, and it was so important that that went well for him. But you know, the extra Oracle, because Sentries are not the strongest units, but if you have 3 Sentries tickling away at an Immortal, that helps so much. That would have actually allowed puCK to clean those 2 Immortals up relatively quickly. But then that Oracle flies in, and that really complicates things, and suddenly these 2 Immortals just did not die anymore.
There's an observer inside the main base here of Huk for puCK, and he knows what he sees, and it's not a pretty sight. He's very far behind in this game. The Forge is almost complete with an upgrade. He hasn't even got his Nexus at halfway yet. There's an Oracle still doing damage here in this game for Huk. Huk has decided to push out. He sees with the Oracle there's nothing there. He doesn't care about these units anymore. He's going for a killing blow, and a blow that will move him on to the next stage.
He lost a lot of workers over here, but I do still think you're right. He shouldn't care too much about it. He leaves a lot of his army supply at home, though. So if these Blink Stalkers make their way at home, how much does puCK have over here? He has a few force fields. He needs to drop the best force fields of his life and then warp in a few more units and micro everything perfectly.
If this Nexus goes down again, he might as well surrender.
And a small miss already over there on these 4 Stalkers that puCK had. Well, the Nexus does get cancelled. The Oracle still being frustrating in the main as well.
Yeah,
it's been a very wild game.
Oh, and these units just walk into the main base here. At least he could have defended his main, but as you can see, these just get picked off instantly here, and there's nothing to stop the rest of the units coming in. A handful of units here for puCK as he tries to defend his last stance in the open bracket, his last stance in the Intel Remastered, his third tournament this season. But it looks like we're going to see an early exit here from puCK as he tries to hold on, but these Immortals doing so much damage. All the probes are gone, there's no probes left, and in a game like StarCraft, let me tell you, in a game like StarCraft, you need probes to mine money, to build units, to win the game. That's not going to happen, the game is over. GG is called, and Huk is the player that moves on here as the third place finisher in the open bracket and qualifies for the Intel Remastered San Jose.
Yeah, I really got to give credit where credit is due, because you look at a bracket like that, you say there are 3 players advancing, it's like, alright, well, normally that should be Huk, but he does often do it. When people say like, oh, well, Huk should make it out of that bracket, or he's supposed to make it out of that bracket, he does that, and he has been doing it almost throughout the entire year, especially when he plays against North American players. Pretty fun series for me as a Protoss player. I can imagine that if you don't play Protoss, you're like, what are these games? It's like non-stop weird action that can be game-ending damage on any given moment. But I particularly enjoyed that last game because there were a lot of good moves from both sides. I really liked the fact that Huk didn't reveal 3 Zealots, because it's always possible to do it 3 Zealots. But the moment it's 6 Zealots, and then the Oracle flies in as well, it's so difficult to defend when all of your other units are supposed to contain the army on the other side of the map. Like, PvP gets really tricky, really intense, and your crisis management is going to have to be excellent. But I enjoyed it, and you know, that Warp Prism move with the Immortals, in the end that was a game-winning move. Imagine if that goes worse, then solid. puCK was in an okay position. Quicker expand, same amount of workers, but Huk, good focus fire, and once again, having another Oracle. He made 5 Oracles that game.
Was it 5?
It was 5.
Okay, if you say so, I'm sure you counted them.
Believe me, Sean.
A really fun series between Huk and puCK, but it is Huk who comes out in the All-American, North American clash of the top Protoss players here, and does grab himself that spot in the Intel Remastered, and he's now sitting on the couch for his winner's interview.
Thank you very much, Apollo. Yes, congrats, Huk. And you probably caught the end of the conversation that Roddy was talking about there, Game 3.
Yeah.
5 Oracles.
I think it was 5.
Yeah, I think
trust,
it was 5 too.
I trust Kevin.
Yeah, he's usually quite good at counting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, talk us through Game 3, because it was probably the most interesting of the 3 games. Obviously the most intense as well. Were you aware that he was maybe going for the all-in early on?
I had no idea. I was just trying to metagame, basically, because of the first 2 games I both did double gateway on both, and I went DTs the first time, and the second time I went for a fast expo. Thought I would change it up and go for a proxy Stargate. Luckily he didn't scout, or he probably would have thought something's up. I don't know where his mothership was when my Oracle flew in. I think that was the biggest mistake for him.
Yeah, I can't remember either. Didn't he put it in your base?
I don't know. I don't think so.
No, because you would have seen it otherwise. Yeah. But yeah, Kevin remarked on the fact that you bought those 2 Immortals and the Warp Prism, and then the Oracle Harass as well at the same time. What was the thinking around that?
I thought it would just be cool and fun to micro with the Warp Prism. I thought I was a little bit ahead. Obviously, if he sniped my Warp Prism randomly, that would have been really bad. But I have pretty good control, and I thought it would be fun to, you know, just ferry it over on the other side. I already broke out of my contain, so I felt like even if I lost it, I would still have a good shot. It would be a pity, but if it got across the map, then I should be able to do damage. You know, the pressure's on him since he's behind to attack with Blink Stalkers and do damage. So I know he's going to be trying to be aggressive with them, and it wouldn't really make sense to make a War Prism with Immortals when he has Blink, so it made sense to me in that weird kind of metagamey kind of way.
Okay, yeah, it was a fun game to watch as well. We're not usually treated to cool PvPs all the time, it has to be said. Sometimes we said at the start of the match, these things can be a bit of a lottery sometimes, a bit of a coin flip with, you know, one guy decides to go all in on one build and that's it, you can't really do anything about it. What are your thoughts on PvP?
It's definitely build order dependent, very much so. There's been, I think there was a recent ban, but there was a lot of hackers on NA, so I played a lot of PvPs against map hackers, and it was the most annoying thing ever. Because if they know what you're doing, it's very easy for someone that's in Masters or even Diamond to beat someone that's a lot better than them. But yeah, it's very build order dependent. You could see that in Game 1 and Game 2. It's pretty much a free win for me, and then almost a free win for him. So it's come a long way, though. I mean, I remember PvP back 2011, 2012, and it's just like 4-gate over 4-gate into, you know, even worse coin flips. I feel like most times the better player in the matchup will win. So it's at a good state, I think, even with the coin tosses.
Yeah, indeed. I just want to clear something up with the handshake at the start. There was no intention there from puCK, was there?
Oh, no, of course not. We're friendly, yeah, so.
Because there were a couple of people who was like, oh, BM handshake's going on now. I was like, no. I'm pretty sure there was no No, that was just a mistake.
No,
genuine.
we're good. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, good stuff. So you move on. It's a fantastic achievement, but as you said earlier on, round of 16 doesn't mean anything. You've got to do well now when you go in. Is there a particular group that you look at and you think, ooh, really don't want to go into there too much? There's maybe too many Terrans in that group. I want to avoid that one.
I think, I can't remember where Gumiho and Super got placed, but I think I was looking, I wanted B or C, and I didn't want A and D. So hopefully, we'll see. Maybe slip a referee a 20 or something.
Well, I don't know if they're up for that sort of thing. I mean, I couldn't possibly comment, but you feel free to try. I mean, maybe that's not the best advice either, so don't trust me on that one. But it's great to see you come through. It's great to see you go into the 16. The next course of action, of course, is playing in front of the fans in North America, and I know it's, you know, not Canada, but it's North America, San Jose, in a sports stadium playing StarCraft 2. It's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I mean, all the players here, as far as I know, are going to be going to San Jose anyways, but to qualify, I know you have that to look forward to. I get to play tomorrow, I get to take the bus, get to prepare my builds. It's really exciting. I've never been to San Jose, but I love anything Cali pretty much, so I'm really hyped, and I just hope to show really good games.
Well, congrats, and we'll see you again tomorrow.
Thank you.
Okay, Huk qualifying through as the third place player in open bracket 1. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back though, open bracket number 2 will begin, where more Koreans are on the line for the slaughter and the foreigners are up for a fight.